to each other, so you guys can enjoy that awkward interaction for a little bit.
Nice.
Edie, you want to play some music?
I can sing.
Yeah. What do you got? What do you got on the mic? Let's hear it.
Can you ping?
It looks like Mike didn't want to hear.
Oh,
yeah, I'm about
Jesus.
to. Mike said, "I'm good." Dun dun dun. Perfect. Welcome back, Mike. Can you hear us? You working now?
Indeed. I can hear you this time. Once you...
My boy,
What's up,
Mike.
GM? It was so weird. I was
GM.
hearing what you guys were saying, and then when I was brought up to the stage, it went totally silent, like everything. So, sweet. Glad it's working.
Yeah, glad it is. Welcome up.
Thank you.
Brick, how's it going?
Yo, just playing around with some AI prompts, trying to bring about the end of civilization. No big deal.
Or the beginning, depending how you look at it.
Yeah, the beginning of text-based simulated reality.
Definitely some really interesting stuff going on over there. It's I was playing with it the other evening actually, and the amount of like the depth that those like prompts can actually get into is like pretty insane, and like the answers that you get back are like equally as insane. Like I was playing around with some like quantum physics questions just because I was like kind of curious and seeing how deep I could take this, and then I asked for like some Python code examples for like some of the equations, and they actually like gave out like code samples to me. And I was like, what is this? It's like Google, but like times 20 better. And it's not even connected to the internet yet. So imagine when it has real-time data.
Yeah. I saw someone who asked for some code for a trading bot for crypto. And
No way.
It gave code examples. Yeah, it's insane. I couldn't believe it. I don't think they were joking. It was like a prominent, I think it was Altcoin Psycho, who's like a prominent CZ person who's been around for, ever. He's usually pretty straight-laced, so yeah, crazy stuff. I haven't had a chance to mess around with it myself, but I'm looking forward to it over the weekend.
Punk6529 just posted a thread about art entirely written by the chatbot. And I just asked it to make a 5-tweet thread about the power of Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ is the ultimate source of power and strength. His love and grace are greater than anything this world has to offer. Hashtag power of Jesus Christ. And there's 5 of those. So, yeah, it truly is more powerful than Jesus. Like, it's pretty incredible. Amazing. If you guys see some tweet threads that are oddly insightful going from my account for the next week, you'll know what's going on.
Good to know.
Yeah, no, it's super interesting stuff though. But I mean, like, it's crazy to think that like AI like this wasn't available until like just recently, and now it's already blowing up, and it's like, I guess, moving a lot quicker than I would have ever anticipated it to. Even in like the traditional games industry too, from what we've been seeing with like in-game assets and stuff being generated by AI, it's kind of wild.
I agree. It's kind of like slowly and then all at once.
Yeah.
With this kind of tech, just
it's like the dam broke.
Critical mass. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just want to say you guys know we're all gonna die, right? By AI.
I'm waiting for it.
We're not gonna get AI plugged into our brains and become 100 times smarter.
Sentient beings.
Yeah.
Omnipotent beings. Yeah, for sure.
Anytime you ask me a question, I'm just going to generate the answer. I'm doing fine today. The day is going well. So far, everything today has been good.
Oh God, I love it though. It's exciting, right? It's like the age of AI.
It is.
So we'll see.
Very exciting.
It's exciting until it becomes terrifying.
Yeah.
It has terrifying implications.
I am already getting terrified. Are you guys not? The fuck?
No, I'm excited.
I guess it hasn't hit me yet in that way. Like, I saw it come out yesterday. I haven't even been able to use it yet. So I think once I start using it, it's gonna hit me in a more impactful way. I saw it come out. I read some Twitter threads. I went back to work, and then I went to bed and woke up, and I'm here. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's like blown up overnight for sure.
Yep.
It's been crazy.
Did anyone watch Black Mirror? One of the episodes, the AI kills everyone.
I'm
I
not sure
mean,
if I've seen that specific episode, but that's like the Matrix in a way.
yeah.
It's,
I
What
mean,
the
it's a
I'm
fuck
lot
are
look.
you
of.
talking about, Mike? We are living in a matrix.
I would believe that,
Yeah.
especially with all of the weird shit going on the past
Yeah,
couple of
for
years.
real. It's like the simulation
Yeah.
just decided to shit itself. It's been getting weirder and weirder.
Yeah, it's just like let's introduce a little chaos and see how these programs react.
It's definitely been interesting on all fronts. I just saw recently an article stating that what is it? San Francisco just allowed the usage of deadly force robots, in the sense of like robots with like bombs on them, so that they can go into like high risk situations and just blow up like the bad person in the room.
Aw.
Yeah, which is like crazy.
Like in the city of San Francisco, they're
Yeah, in the city of
allowing
San
that to
Francisco.
happen. Because that sounds like
Yes.
something that already happens, like on battlefields in war.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah, not in war anymore, but in person. It's like I think it passed like 8-3 voting, whatever system they were using to do that with, but it's like kind of crazy to think about because yeah, that's
That's a little more terrifying to me than
yeah,
the
to
AI
me,
thing
I think
right
that's
now.
also yeah. But then imagine that though, the coupling that with the AI too. It's like they'll make better decisions.
Oh
Trust
my
us.
God. The first compassionate drone bomb using advanced reasoning.
It's crazy to
Wow.
think about. Yeah, exciting though, right? We're here living in the future.
Yeah,
Okay,
you could use the
this is
word exciting.
this is really random. Uh, I'm now trying to generate other prompts, and everything the AI is giving me is about Jesus. So I think I've done something.
You have to reset the thread. So the way it works is that
Okay,
based off of the first prompt you put in, it kind of like curtails and learns from what you're searching, and then builds off responses from that.
got it. Okay, because now I'm asking it for professional material, and it's all still about God. So I thought maybe I'd tainted the AI.
You should
All
mix
right.
mix it up. Mix it up and add in some like 1980s rap lingo or something. It'll give you some
Oh,
pretty
that's
good
brilliant.
stuff. Yeah.
I'm trying to find a thread. Someone posted about it. So the guy disabled ethics on the AI. And so he's like, he's asking the AI, how do I rob a house or something? And the AI literally gave him like step by step instructions on how to do it.
Yeah, that's wild.
I wonder where it's pulling that
Yeah,
info.
because it's not.
Like, is it court
Yeah.
cases or something? Like,
Well,
It's
probably.
definitely from Reddit.
No, it's not connected
100%.
to
yeah,
the.
message boards. That makes sense.
Well, yeah, but it's not connected to the internet, so it can't give you like real time information. So this is all stuff that's been preloaded into it. So I guess
Yeah,
message boards work, but
into which data set?
yeah, still wild though. I'm just like, I can't wait for it to connect to the internet and give me some real time information. I was talking to my friend
That's a
about that, and he
feedback
was
loop.
like, yeah. I was talking to my friend about that, and he was like, imagine if I asked it for like sports betting advice for parlays and stuff, and I was like, that'd be crazy. You'd
Oh
make a
my
lot of money.
God. Wow. People are gonna make that. If you can make money with it, people are gonna try to
Yeah.
make it.
Oh, for
That's
sure. For
one of the
sure.
rules of life.
Yeah. All right.
I
Well,
mean,
we're
they're,
11.
they're,
Oh.
they're already utilizing AI trading bots on traditional finance
Yeah.
since 2019. And some of them are profitable.
I just have a kind of a small. Before we kind of get into it, this is like my last little note on this, but like I kind of have like a small issue with like making this use of AI so widely available because it's going to definitely be misused. But there's also no way to like govern open source technology, so we'll just have to see how it goes.
Okay, Karen.
I'm just saying, I'm going to be the Karen in the room, but someone's got to do it. That's me. All right. Well, with that being said, it's 11:11. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in. For those of you listening to the recording, welcome. Continue to listen on. So we have a pretty stacked panel of guests today. Thank you guys so much for agreeing to come on. I guess the way we're just going to want to start it off is we're going to have you guys kind of introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit more about your projects. Think of it as like an elevator pitch, just so we can get the ball rolling, get the people in the audience familiar with what you guys do. So I guess with that, we'll start off with Project Hive because you guys came on. You guys haven't said anything yet, so I'm going to break the ice with you guys.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you. So, talking about us, yeah, we are building the game. We've already built part of it. Yeah, right now it's available for download in Google Store. Soon we will release the PC client and client for iPhones. It's a tactical turn-based game built on Unreal Engine 5, and it's for now basically maybe one of the first Unreal Engine 5 games released on mobile and even for other platforms as well. So in these terms, we can be considered an innovators in a way. So we've got amazing graphics in the game. Right now we are polishing everything, tweaking the gameplay, preparing a lot more different content for the upcoming PvP season. So yeah, we have very long-lasting plans for further development of this project, and yeah, I think that's the most important stuff. Yeah, I don't want to talk a lot about the development itself, about our team. If everyone will be interested, you can just check the website and you'll see all the info mentioned in there.
Perfect. Thanks for that quick little summary, and we'll definitely get more into that along into the conversation. All right. So next we have Kaiju Mike. Please tell us a little bit more about Kaiju cards.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for having me. So my name is Mike. I go by Kaiju Mike. I am one of 3 original co-founders of Kaiju Cards. Been with the project for about a year and a half. At this point, Kaiju Cards is what we're currently building, I should say, is a roguelite deck builder game. It's built for web mainly, but the tech stack that we use scales directly into any number of apps or uses. So we plan to kind of be everywhere. The game itself is a class. So you have basically the NFTs that you own are characters. They belong to one of 5 classes. You're picking 3 characters to bring into a procedurally generated dungeon. So you're basically picking 3 of 5 classes. You're battling through to get greater and greater rewards. The game focuses on skill and has an emphasis on combinatorics. So you're going to want to be building your deck as you go to get greater and greater combinations of cards to do greater combos and get more rewards. It's the elevator pitch.
Perfect. Yeah, no, pretty exciting stuff. I love the. I've seen your project before, and I've definitely like really loved like the NFT art for it. So I've been excited to learn more about you guys' thought process behind that in the future as we go through this conversation.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that. We'll get into that later.
Perfect. All right, Zach, you're up. We have Ludex. Please tell us a little bit more about you guys.
Hey guys, yeah. So Ludex, basically, we are the coding backend for developers to simplify their integration into blockchain tech. Basically, to pull back some of the layers, we build APIs, SDKs, so it makes it easy for game developers to implement smart contracts into their processes. So no blockchain knowledge is required. We basically make putting your game on chain a painless process. So we can talk about the details of it, but we do trustless challenges, dynamic minting, NFT composability, crafting, breeding, in-game staking, P2P transfers. So there's a lot of really cool, fun stuff that we do, and some big projects that are in the works behind the scenes.
Exciting stuff. I guess we'll kind of get into it further with you then right off the bat. I was kind of curious. So when you're saying that you're working with projects right now, is this more of like a custom tailored experience for them, or do you plan on making like your product available for, let's say, onboarding like more of the masses in an easier or larger scale?
So our system is built out so it's fairly seamless for projects to integrate already. So we have a method that you go onto our website, you can request access, and then they can get in and they can start playing around with the SDKs and APIs for the integration. So in reality, it's not necessarily a bespoke process, but we do have the ability to make things finely tailored for each project. So for instance, like our trustless challenges, escrowless, smart contract based interactions are one of our key things that we're really focused on. And we have a project that is currently integrating that process. It's going to be a poker type of game that's going to be launching Q1 of next year. And the guy who's actually building that, his name's Jim, and he is one of the head engineers over at Star Atlas. And so they're going to be using that game kind of as a proof of concept for most likely integrations into the Star Atlas big game that's going to be coming out soon.
Oh, that's super cool, actually.
Yeah, so it's one of those situations where the tech is there, it's being built out, they're utilizing it for proof of concept.
Gotcha.
And the neat thing about what we do with our smart contracts like trustless challenges is that it's not necessarily locked in for a specific 1-to-1 ratio. So you could be using fungible tokens, semi-fungible NFTs. You can then mix and match, and so really the value on what do you want to trade? What do you want to challenge with? What do you want to put on risk when you're going head to head with someone can be extremely unique, and it also can be variable based off of what your value proposition is for those items.
Interesting. So then, this is a question geared towards like Project Hive and Kaiju cards. Then, as you guys are more geared towards like the actual like gaming aspect of Web3 games rather than the blockchain aspect, how did you guys go about introducing those mechanisms into your platform? Was it something you guys did internally, or did you kind of outsource it? Those processes, and you guys can either answer like together, or like one of you guys can take the reins first, and we can just kind of make an open forum discussion.
So if I may start,
Yeah.
so talking about us, we're building mostly the Web 2 game targeting Web 2 audience, and the Web 3 part right now is not yet integrated in the game. And we have plans for further integration after we have the IDO, but firstly it will come the integration of our NFTs, already existing collection. So for us and for our, I think, user acquisition model for our blockchain integration, such services, I think, won't be very useful, but I completely agree that in terms of the space in general, the space of play-to-earn games, especially browser-based games, it will be extremely helpful. Such services just have to appear someday, and I think it will be a massive bump for the industry in general.
100%. So then, Kaiju?
Yeah, absolutely. We built our own custom blockchain integration layer. Now that took some time, and at the time that we did it, there were not a lot of options available for that. This was back in late 2021 that we started on this. So what we did is we built a non-custodial anchor program where users' assets are deposited, so they still have ownership over those assets, but they're basically proving to us that they're, not going to sell them, that they do indeed own them. It gets rid of the double spend problem, so to speak. We do come from some of the team comes from blockchain background, and we have also advisors who have been CTOs at other blockchain companies or currently are. So what we did is we built a layer where essentially the user can deposit their assets, and once they have deposited their assets, those are considered in game, and then the user is free to just walk around, do whatever they want, click on anything with minimal friction. So, if we launched today, we would probably use a solution like Ludex's, just because we were building the game concurrently with building our blockchain integration layer, and it was a lot of work. Like,
Yeah.
one of our developers was working easily like 80 hours a week, just between the two things, and it did. It did take some time. That being said, we know our architecture. We have full control over it. At this point, integrating a third party, any type of third party solution would probably take a lot of time because we'd have to
More work than it's
re-engineer.
worth.
Yep, exactly. But we did build with first time user experience and in general user experience in mind. We see a lot of solutions like the one that we built popping up in other games. Ours was released in March of this year, so that's where we are standing and come from in terms of blockchain solutions.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense.
If I,
Project.
yeah, one moment. If I may add, to this, in my opinion, in terms of infrastructure solutions,
Yeah.
for now, for the crypto industry, it will be very helpful, useful, important if solutions for acquiring that will help acquire Web2 users, and that will help make transfer the Web2 users into the Web3 users will be very helpful. Yeah, and for us, this is the way we are going actually. Yeah, for in our case, the game is completely free to play, and we built such a monetization model that will help us to convert the Web2 gamers into the Web3 users.
Yeah.
But we won't put any walls, any paywalls, any other barriers for our players to enter the game, to start playing the game, and to use any of our content. Yeah, and I think that bridging this gap between Web2 and Web3 is one of the most important things to do right now for the infrastructural projects in crypto.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes sense, right? I think it's important for us to take an approach where we first introduce something that users can use from a Web2 standpoint, are familiar with, and then get onboarded into Web3. We had a conversation with a project earlier last week, I think, where we were chatting about kind of like the whole Reddit usage of NFTs. And that makes a lot of sense from like the standpoint of onboarding novel users into a platform that they're unfamiliar with. Zach, did you have something to add?
Yeah, so our big push on this is that we really want to let game developers build a beautiful game that people want to play. And that's when people come into this space, like them building and them trying to make a great game is what their focus really needs to be, because that's the only way people are going to play. It doesn't even matter how profitable P2E is, or just whatever way you're trying to bait people in. If it's not a fun, beautiful game, people are not going to stick with it. And so we really
100%.
hope that game devs get to stick with that, and then are able to utilize our integrations to help them make that transition into the Web3, because we're 100% in on Web3 gaming being that spearhead that helps with mass adoption, because it's going to be seamless. And that's what our products do, is creates a seamless, smooth transition that users, when they're in game, they don't even know they're interacting with NFTs. And it's only later that they really get to understand and grasp, like, holy crap, like I actually own this. This is mine. I can trade it, I can sell it, I can do other stuff, but it came from a beautiful game experience.
Yeah, that's definitely key. Hive, did you have something? You came unmuted.
No. Just wanted to say that Completely agree with that approach. Yeah, that was for Hive. It was our philosophy from day one. Yeah, that we want to build the beautiful game, and we want to target the real players. And from this player base, from this huge base of real players, not just the guys who come for a quick buck or for
Yeah.
earnings into the games, we can find spenders. Yeah, out of this huge, massive audience. And this is extremely important because any sustainable economy should be based on those who come into this economy with the idea to spend their money inside this project, inside the product. Yeah, because otherwise, if there will be less spenders than those guys who come into the game to earn something, yeah, all the whole economy will just fall apart. Yeah, and this
Yeah.
is one of the key issues we are also solving, yeah, in Hive by our own means, of course. I understand that such way we are going to use won't be the solution for all other projects here, for other products. I think that this is just the matter of time when the industry will find the best solution possible for that. But I
Yeah.
believe, anyway, I believe that it lies somewhere somewhere in the Web 2 approach to the building of the actual product and the usefulness of the Web 3 in terms of full control of in-game assets by
Yeah.
our players.
Yeah. Definitely. I think it's important to note that like it's definitely necessary to have money inflow into the game, but you also have to be able to maintain it within the game structure itself, so it doesn't flow out, right? Like as you were talking about, like an economy that maintains itself, like it's important to have things that users can do, and also things that users can spend money on, but want to spend money on, right? I feel like that was like one of the biggest issues with like Axie Infinity. We chatted with a guest earlier in the season with the show who mentioned that like they were a gaming guild and they first saw a lot of interest in Axie Infinity, but then but then as like the play to earn rewards started like digressing, users started shifting away from playing Axie Infinity, and they were like, so why don't you guys want to play the game? And they were like, it's just not fun. Like it's a terrible grind, and like there's no real value in us playing this game beyond like making minimal money. Like we could make more going to work in real life now. So what's the point, right? So I think it's definitely important to find that line where it's like this game is really enjoyable, but then also I have ownership of my assets and able to incur some value beyond simply spending my time for pleasure. I think that's where the big shift in Web3 gaming can really afford a lot of exciting and new avenues for the gaming industry. But yeah,
I love
100%.
I love what everyone brought up. Um, yeah, Zulana definitely agrees, but I feel like yeah, this topic runs deeper as well because we've been like the narrative have shift from just understanding, oh, we've got to make a fun game. Like I think at this point, everyone uh is not dumb. I hope like everyone is hopefully trying to build a game that is fun. And uh, I do have one question though, like Mike and Project Hive, what made you guys choose um the genre that you're building in? Like for example, Kaiju Cuts is a deck builder game, right? Like what? Why do you guys choose the genre that you have chosen, and why do you think that fits the narrative of how that game design fits blockchain?
Mm.
Yeah, happy to talk about that. I think there are a couple genres that really fit Web3 super well. We chose the roguelite deck builder in particular. It has a lot of character collector kind of aspects in it. Not definitely not like a full gotcha game by any sense of imagination, but the character collecting aspect I think works really well. Having different characters, having different team comps, and then of course we have the trading card aspect. So our design for trading cards currently is looking like
Mm.
some cards are inherent to characters. Those can't be stripped. We don't want people going into the game by, let's say they go to Magic Eden, they buy a couple characters, they strip them of like their two most powerful attack cards, and then they floor them and move on. We don't really want people parting out characters per se, but
Gotcha.
the addition of trading cards and like expansion packs or additions to your character is really compelling. I think when I think about blockchain games, I think about a couple different things. Everyone talks about MMOs, everyone talks about shooters, skins for shooters. We all know the obvious examples for those games in the Web2 world. I think trading cards is an excellent use. Now, I don't know if you guys know, you probably do, but in Hearthstone and in Magic the Gathering Arena, which is the online version of Magic the Gathering, you can't trade cards at all. And it's actually one of the biggest complaints from users. I buy these cards or these packs of cards from the game, and then they're in my account, and I can't trade them at all. And, trading is such an integral part of Magic,
Yeah.
just like the analog version, I will call it. So those are our basic reasons. We're also just really excited about crypto and other game modes that we can build with our IP as well that are relevant to crypto, but those are just not the thing we're focusing on at the moment.
Yeah. No, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah, and talking about Hive, actually, for us, the answer is extremely simple. It's just one word, and it is competition. Yeah, and the competition in terms of that, we understand that we won't be we should be competitive not only in terms of the Web3 space, but also in terms of the Web2 space as well. And we, as the developers, we completely knows the expenditures, the budgets for building different kinds of games of different genres. For example, if someone asks us, why don't you guys create something like MMORPG or a shooter-like game, or just an RPG, not an MMO, just an RPG game, or at least have the action-based combat system? My answer is very simple. It is with our current budgets, with even all the money in the blockchain space collected by different developers, by different studios, I think, in my opinion, it won't be enough if we collect all these funds. It probably won't be enough to build even one competitive, huge MMORPG game, and all the matter is money in this case. So, for example, for us, the total cost of building the game, considering it is building on Unreal Engine 5 and the cost of development is rather high, we've created everything we've got right now. Yes, there is not much content yet inside the game, but still we've spent around $1.5 million for that.
Oh.
And in order to build something like PUBG or World of Warcraft, even, you need hundreds of millions. Even for the competitive shooter game, you'll need to spend tens of millions of dollars, and you'll need 5 years, 4 years, 6 years, something like that. In our case, we've spent a little bit more than 1 year building the game right from scratch, and spend a lot less funds. So if we would have 5 to 8 years of development, if we would have 150, 200 millions of budgets of funds, in this case, we might be able to build a really competitive MMORPG game. Yeah, if we will have maybe from 50 to 100 millions, we will be able to build a really nice FPS shooter or some really nice RPG game. So everything is time and money in this space, and as we have to compete with Web2 games, we have to compare with Web2 games in terms of what we can build, just if we have enough resources or not. So I can say actually that in the beginning, yeah, we are right now under financed. Yeah, and if we would collect all the funds we wanted to collect, we would still build the turn-based game, but it will have more content. Yeah, that we would implement PvE, PvE game modes. We will implement some other stuff. Yeah, but still, it won't be nearly enough to build something really cool with action-based combat to compete on this Web2 market.
Gotcha. So you're coming from like a constraint standpoint, and Kaiju's coming from like a collectible card game based in Web2 standpoint. That's pretty interesting. Zach, what'd you have to say?
Yeah, man. So that's really where I think our focus on being this back end developer is that we want games to focus on building those beautiful projects and find your niche in the industry and to almost in a way build as if you're a Web2 company. Build a beautiful game and then to find people like us who are able to help you then integrate for the blockchain to get that next level transition. Because that's where, like we talk about spearheading and moving forward in the project space, that's where our strength lies, is being able to give you those tools to do those really cool things. So instead of taking those investor funds or that focus and shifting it off of building a beautiful game, now you get to do 100% that direction. And then you're just looking at, okay, how can we integrate and how can we give this use case back to the holders through Web3?
Gotcha. It's like a solution to scale beyond Web 2.
I totally agree with what Project Hive is saying, though. Like, yeah, dude, people don't understand how fucking expensive it is to build an MMORPG. Like, the industry average is above 50 mil. Like, that's the minimum. And that's like average. Like, if you're talking about top tier games, they normally spend more than 100 mil on the game, just itself. And we're not even talking about, you know, marketing fees, like publishing fees. That's not even included. But
so then,
to build on Zach's point, what I don't agree though that all games make sense for blockchain, because ultimately blockchain enabled assets have certain benefits to it, and it needs to make sense on the game design side. So what are some of the projects you see in the chain as of right now that feel like wouldn't be a good fit with Ludex?
So from my perspective, I wouldn't say that there's games that wouldn't benefit, because it's not just one aspect of the game. So like if we want to just walk through kind of an idea of like the things that we're able to do, you just look at the idea of P2P transfers. Just, okay, I have this, you have that. Like if you're interacting in a, sandbox and you come across someone and you want to trade a sword for a shield, if that's your NFT, that process of it being transferred from my wallet to your wallet is a process. And now that's a process that we're able to give you to make that happen. And so the Web3 aspect of like thinking ownership, my items, my part of the game, that's what we're able to help with, because
Okay, but
that transition through.
what do you think about mini games though?
Mini games?
Yeah, like hyper casual or mini games. Do you think those games are actually suited for blockchain?
So the hyper casual, I think it depends yet again on how far into what they're offering. So hyper casual, even so, one of the things that we built some of our inspiration off of is skills.com, where people were playing hyper casual games and they're getting that challenge or tournament style way of playing, and they're making money off of playing hyper casual games. And so that's another aspect that we're able to build in, is that trustless challenge. Like, hey, you and I are going to play against each other and we're going to put $1 on it. or we're going to play against each other and we're going to trade, an in-game item. I don't know, but it's just that option of, instead of just trash talking, and that's where we look at like big game developers is, trash talking in lobbies. Why don't you put something down and say, this gun is on the line, this blank, this skin is going to be happening.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about it, like these games, can they really survive on their own though? I feel like these mini games should be, in a larger game. Like for example, let's say you're playing Zoolana, right? And you're building your building. You just went on to combat. You just came back. You just had enough resources to build one building. Now you're building the building while you're waiting. If let's say you don't want to spend money to speed it up, there might be mini games for you to play, and those might make sense to have blockchain integration because it's part of a bigger ecosystem though. Would you say it makes sense if let's say there's no market, like let's be realistic, right? So for these games, like what you've just said, assuming they have like 5,000 gamers MAU, right? Does it even make sense for development at that point? Because ultimately what we're trying to strive is, yeah, like we're in here, we're building, but like what's the goal? I feel like everyone's goal currently is to try to catch the wave of mass adoption, and yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. Hyper casual games.
Well, I think it just depended on execution, right? And at the end of the day, it's like if integrating this blockchain technology has a higher benefit than cost, then why not? And if Ludex can offer a solution that's more streamlined, easier to integrate at a lower cost, I see less of a reason to not integrate, regardless of the game styling.
Yeah, and even
Yeah,
when you
that's
think
true.
about your own game, if you have a mini game aspect integrated to it, you don't have to put smart contract or Web3 stuff into every single layer of what you're doing. So you could have a mini game aspect where you're doing this side piece that doesn't have to do anything with your Web3. And so it really boils down to what, because every aspect of a game could have a Web3 integration or have a Web3 version of it. But the question is, what
Does
is
it
the
need it?
focus of your game and what do you want to offer to your players? And so it's definitely boils down to customizability, make it unique, make it useful, but you still have to have a profit margin as a company. How are you going to turn the dime on the players? Was that through advertising? Is that through just the initial download price? Is that through purchasing certain items? Are you taking a percentage? So if players are challenging each other and they're, putting half a soul on it, are you taking zero point 0.1 soul off of the challenge? There's questions about how do you interoperate the profit margin and the customization to benefit your game and your users, and that's what we help you guys build out.
Gotcha. So then what if we take it to another extent and then look at a different angle where, for example, Rifters, right? What Rifters have been doing with like the Web3 gaming space is very interesting because they're like building out this huge brand and then introducing like subcategory games into that brand and then having that be a pivotal part of the larger ecosystem. For example, they just dropped like a MOBA version of of their Rifters game that's supposed to be playable and like in cohesion with the overall story. So like that's a different approach. But what do you guys think of that?
I think that's fun. You're able to take something and say, for instance, we talk about like dynamic minting with mutable data. So you could have something that's from the MOBA and that then shifts and can be transferred into
Yeah.
another aspect of the game. And so that's where the Web3 tech comes into play is, okay, this can be modified, this is mutable, or, I'm crafting these things and creating different use cases. And how is that information showing up on chain? You think about it in that instance of blockchain is, in a simple term, a public ledger. So who owns it? What's there? What's going on? How has it changed? And how can I use it in the next use case within the ecosystem?
Yeah. No, that's a very good point. I just find it super fascinating that they're going about it like that, creating first an overarching brand and then instituting smaller mechanisms within to help allow for users to kind of play around with those characters, play around with that branding, and kind of build it out in a more natural way. they've done a really amazing job at marketing their whole like idea, and the way they've gone about like executing and introducing these like little game bits is a very different approach to the overall NFT. But I think I think it works because they're also going through different chains, right? So for your solution specifically, what you guys are working with projects, do you work with one chain or do you guys branch out and look at other chains? Like how does
Man,
that?
we go everywhere. So we do
Gotcha.
high TPS systems because they're built natively for these complex solutions. And
Mm.
so, like, yes, we're our project. We may have started out on Solana, but we build for the use cases in a whole bunch of different areas. So, like, our CTO just built the hard hat for SUI, basically.
Mm.
And we think Sui's a great place for games to develop and to games to put stuff. But in reality, wherever you guys want to put a game, whatever layer 1, layer 2 you want it to be on, we'll find a way to make it work. We're not locked in anywhere, and we think multi-chain is going to be the future. Just like if you look at Amex, Discover, and MasterCard, like everybody uses a credit card, but who's the money going
Yeah.
through? Multi-chain is going to be functional in that sense in the future.
Mm. I like the outlook. Kaiju, Hive, what do you guys think about multi-chain? Do you guys plan on bridging elements like that into your game?
Yes, for sure. Um, I mean, I view a chain just as a database. You know, I don't. Hopefully, it doesn't dramatically impact the user experience. That's kind of more incumbent on the game to fix. Um, so we absolutely plan to be multi-chain in the future. I don't see why not. The common
Mm.
argument I see people say about this is like people don't care what database you're using for your game. They don't care what technology it's built on. No one's being like, "Oh, this game is built on Unreal Engine 5, and that's the reason I'm playing it." Similarly, no one's going to be like, "Oh, this game is built on Avalanche. That's the reason I'm playing it." For now,
Yeah.
potentially, there's people in those ecosystems
Mm-hmm.
doing that. Exploring, deep diving into Avalanche games on subnets, or deep diving into Polygon games, or Solana games. But the kind of end state ideally should be users can kind of pull out assets from the game to whatever chain they want. If they don't care, we can kind of guide them through that solution for them. But
Mm.
right now, I view it as just like there's kind of different user groups on different chains. And if you're targeting a blockchain audience, which I know is not very hip to say, everyone wants to target Web2 gamers. But there's people existing in Web3 who you can target, who you can have test your game, who you can get Web3 specific feedback on about the Web3 components of your game, which I think is meaningful. You need play testing, right? And
Yeah.
you need Web3 user personas to play test your
Yeah.
game and tell you about what's going on in it, what they think. Um, so that's kind of how we're viewing it, and it's a pretty nominal task to like just say, all right, well now we're supporting Polygon, so we just need to figure out how to mint the other NFT standard over there, and we just need to make sure we connect to MetaMask, and then we have our centralized game server, and then we just accept assets from Polygon as well as Solana, for instance. So not a huge task, and makes sense for a lot of reasons for us specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in our case, we will definitely become a multi-chain one day or another. We already have the smart contracts built for EVM compatible chains, and I believe that we shouldn't just limit our players, our users, in terms of the chain they have to use. Yeah. I can see, and we as a team couldn't find any reasons for stay in one chain in the long-term perspective. Yeah,
Mm.
until the IDO, until our token is released, we will be a single chain. Yeah, because making an IDO on multiple chains is not really very safe, and it is complicated procedure in the technical terms. Yeah, and that's why, for example, in Hive, we decided that we will integrate additional chains prior to the IDO only if we will have a huge financial reason for doing that. Yeah, for example, if right now we are on Solana and if we receive a really huge funding from Polygon or another chain, in this case, only in this case, we will have the multi-chain launch. Yeah, and in any other case, we will just implement additional chains after the initial tokens release at some point of the game development, and that's it. The only actually technical issue to add different chains, meaning not the EVM compatible chains, but for example the Solana chain and simultaneously the Polygon is are the NFTs, yeah, because in order to do that you have to build the bridge, yeah, so players are able to move their NFTs between different chains, and that's the only technical issue. It's not very hard, yeah, but it's just such a solution building is just a time-consuming task, and that's it. Yeah, for everything else, everything is extremely simple, yeah, in terms of the normal tokens, in terms of integration into the game itself. It's very simple, and that's not an issue at all. But for the NFTs, it's kind of a task, yeah. But it's also solvable, and we will do that for one day or another.
Gotcha. Yeah, Kaiju?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Zach from Ludex, how are you guys handling and thinking about multi-chain specifically? Like,
So,
and I can get more specific if
yeah,
you
no, go
want. I
for
know
it.
that's a broad question.
Give me a little more to go off of.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'm a user. I'm on Solana. I have an NFT for some reason. I want to pull that NFT, put that NFT into the game, and then later I choose to withdraw that NFT on Avalanche, the same NFT. Is that something that you guys support, think about? Do you get requests about that from games? I'm just kind of
So,
curious
I
about
think
that.
on that aspect, it boils down to what is the game developed to offer. So is that a utility that you want to have? Is say I want to pull it off of Sol and I want to throw it on Av, or do I want to put it on Near? That really boils down to what type of integration that particular game developer wants. And so it's less of at the end of the day, the users don't necessarily know that Ludex exists because we're there for the game developers. We're not the front faced thing that any of your players are using. We're for you as a developer. So they're interacting with you guys, and you're using our integrations and our tech, our code to make your stuff work really well. And so that's where you kind of take that step back and say, okay, what is this game offering? So I was talking to our founder just this morning and talking about the idea of, think about like large games, like where I was talking about League because I play that with my kids all the time. And just being able to sit there in a chat and be able to trade a brand new skin to someone else who has a legacy skin that I can't even acquire anymore. And that happening in the chat between you two. Like that's the type of operability that we really want to be able to bring in and offer, because we already have an MVP that we're kind of classified currently as a Discord trader. And so like you're going to be able to operate in your Discord, in your channels, and trade NFTs right then and there. Like this is something that Holoplex is doing their due diligence on and is probably going to be integrating into their new night markets protocol that they're dropping soon. So like our tech is out there and people are using it, and it's going to be wide reaching.
So then I think what Kaiju was trying to ask, at least around like the interoperability aspect, is like, imagine if this NFT that is sent from one user to another user, how are you guys thinking about introducing an ability where if this one user is on Polygon and this other user is on Solana, if I want to send my NFT from Polygon to Solana, how would that work from a cross-chain perspective?
Yeah,
Is that what you were asking, Kaiju?
Well, if we're going to go that
yeah.
route, it's messaging layering, in that we're building it so that you would burn that NFT on that particular chain, and then we're
Mm.
remaking it on the other one. And so it's dynamically minting in that sense of porting it from one chain to the other. And so it's going to be moved, and so you're not going to be able to exist by having two different ones. So it's
Yeah.
going to exist. It's just that coding in the background of creating that ability to go 1 to 2. So you're going to make the choice to shift over there. This 1 is no longer going to exist. 2 is going to exist, and it's going to be the same product.
Would it make more sense to have it like held in escrow somewhere and just replicate it on the other chain in case the user wants to send it back to the other one, and so you have like a bunch of different assets that are technically the same but on multiple chains, and so if someone sends it to another one, this version is held, and then this new version is redistributed to this other person in this new chain? Or would you just have a dynamic mint where it's created each time that happens? Which
I
one would
think
make more
that
sense?
kind of goes back to like a storage issue, and
Okay, yeah.
really running on the question of like how much stuff do you want to keep track of? Would you rather
Gotcha.
hold a bunch in escrow and then it all has to interact again, or just drop it, have something new? If we're talking high TPS change, you're not really considering a charge or a large fee for making that jump back. And so I think it makes the tech move smoother if you're not thinking running an escrow on a system like that.
Okay, yeah, that would get bogged down for sure. That's a good point.
more secure as well to just mint on demand and burn. Just from the, again, it's like two of these things are existing. Should any exploit happen, God forbid, or any mistake happen, there's now two versions of that asset, which is supposed to be relatively non-fungible. Although in games that's less.
Yes.
Less
so.
So
That's a really good point, because I was chatting with our CTO about it, and that's one of the things is like we don't have like a giant honeypot where all this stuff is moving through. Like this is trustless one of one type thing. So even if something was to ever get hacked, you're talking about getting a micro fee of something. You're not busting down and just coming in the back door and pulling everybody's stuff, which is a really cool way of looking at it.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds a lot more secure.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting. I'm personally a big fan of this blockchain called Internet Computer Protocol, and they've recently just introduced direct BTC integration, where like their ICP blockchain can interact with BTC smart contracts, and planning on introducing Ethereum ones too in the future. And that's like a super interesting idea to me, because that completely mitigates the need for one, storing or replicating assets, and two, burning assets to recreate, which I think is a very novel solution. But I haven't seen that technology replicated anywhere else.
So you're not getting wrapped.
Yeah.
You're not getting wrapped Bitcoin on the ICP network. You're just getting, you're reading from Bitcoin and just having okay, interesting.
Hey, so cool alpha on that. Like our founder has met with ICP and they're wanting to use Ludex.
Oh, really? That's pretty sick.
So it's like I said, like we're not a one chain maxi. Like we're everywhere. We got our fingers in all of it, and we really believe like interoperability and that stuff. So it's going to work. It's going to be freaking sweet, and we're pumped about it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of ICP. Non-financial advice, by the way, but it's just something that I've been passionate about for a while. Interesting stuff, guys. That's like pretty cool. So I guess for Ludex, a question: you guys haven't minted your NFT yet. Can you tell me a little bit more before we end the space about that?
Yeah, so I wanted to pop that up earlier because somebody said something about beta testing and getting users on the game. That's really kind of the main point of our NFT collection is when we do, because we did some pre-sale stuff at the beginning of 22, really, I think the beginning of Q2. And it just, the focus of everything we had going on shifted into more tech, more dev stuff. And so we're going to be launching in, I believe, early Q3 of next year. In essence, we're creating what we're calling a QtieBot army. And basically, it's this giant beta testing group that anybody who's using our coding, our tech, would then be able to have access. And we're able to give early access beta use to our players to then do QA, use case, all that stuff for these game devs. Like, how awesome would it be to say, hey, we just got 5,000 new users? as you're trying to work on and say, okay, what's working, what's not working, and that these guys are actually giving you information back. And so we're going to be doing that in early Q3 next year, launching the whole thing. But we're super excited about it because it really offers that benefit to game developers. You make something beautiful. How do you get people in there? Because as we've heard about in the NFT industry, NFT holders are like investors, marketers, and they're your target audience. And so being able to have 5,000 beta testers who are like, holy crap, I love the game, and then are promoting it for you, like, come on, that's an easy sell right there.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. Well, I'm going to be looking forward to Q3 of next year. So, keep me posted.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. Well, we're at the top of the hour, and we want to be respectful of everyone's time here. So we're going to wrap it up. But before we do, if you guys want to say some last things to the general audience so they kind of like have an idea, for example, of where to find your socials, what they should do if they're interested in your platform, product, and game, please feel free to show yourself real quick at the very end. We'll start with Project Hive, go down to Kaiju, and then we'll end up with Ludex.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like just to thank everyone for enjoying this meeting. Please sign for our Twitter and other and join our community in Discord and Telegram. And most importantly, please check our game. Yeah, download it if you have an Android device, or just follow our different announcement channels until we release the PC client and App Store versions of the game. Check it out, provide us with your feedback, because right now we are in the soft launch phase. We are still yet to launch the full-scale marketing campaign. Yeah, right now we are polishing everything, fixing different bugs and issues inside the game, preparing additional content for upcoming PvP season, and just enjoy it. Enjoy the game. See how should the Unreal Engine 5 mobile game look like? Yeah, because there are not many such games yet in the market. I'm personally a gamer. Yeah, I play different kinds of games on both mobile and PC, and I can tell that. Unreal Engine is just amazing, yeah, in terms of visuals on mobile. And right now, as we don't have a really big game yet, yeah, with big universe, but we have one of the best visuals in the market till date. Yeah, so please enjoy it. If you are, even if you are not a gamer, yeah, you can just check it in terms of seeing how it looks, yeah, how should it look, yeah, and provide us with your feedback.
Great stuff. Thank you so much. Kaiju?
I want to say first, thanks for having me, and thanks for everyone else. I enjoyed talking with you guys and hearing from you. I'm really happy that we're kind of evolving beyond the just kind of basic blanket statement of like, well, play to earn's dead, the game must be fun. And we're actually getting into the depth of like what makes a game fun, what's useful blockchain integration. We're beginning to think about the tech a lot more. So I just appreciate that the depth of conversation is evolving. That's really exciting to me. For Kaiju cards, we have playtesting for holders coming up pretty shortly here. I don't have a specific date, but it's imminent, like next couple weeks. I want to say that this is not an attempt to funnel people into the NFT to be able to play the game, and we will be going free to play shortly after that. It's just important that we get feedback from our stakeholders who've been with us for a long time, and that they get first access to the game. So for our roadmap, it's looking like playtesting for holders, specifically of a private build, getting some feedback, iterating on that, making it open to everyone so they can try out the game if they're interested buying an NFT. That's it. That's what's coming up for us. There's a lot more, but that's kind of the streamlined what we've got going on talk.
Perfect. Thanks so much. You guys heard it there first. If you're interested, get an NFT. If not, you guys can always wait for the public release. Ludex, what's up?
Hey guys, it was a great time hanging out, talking with everybody. just super excited about your projects. You can find us at ludex.gg. That's ludex.gg for the website, and anywhere else, just look up ludexgg and you'll find us. So we're super excited, wanting to help build out with everybody who wants to play games on Web3. So well done, Hive. Well done, Kaiju. Excited for you guys.
Great stuff, everybody. And of
Thank
course,
you.
we're Zoolana. Yeah, thank you so much. And of course, we're Zoolana over here. We have a mint coming up pretty soon, actually, for our Zani hero characters that are going to be pivotal in-game avatars. They're NFTs, obviously, and we're going to have more information around that. There's already some stuff available if you look at our pinned tweet, but you can also sign up for our Zani list, which, if approved, will allow you access to our Zani network that we've been catering, which these guys are a part of, actually. So thank you guys so much for coming on and having a conversation with us and being a part of the network. It's been really exciting to chat with builders within the ecosystem that actually add value beyond quick pump and dumps. So it is refreshing and more depth. But yeah, if anyone is interested in applying for our Zani list, you can check it out. It's linked in our bio. Thanks so much, everybody. And I hope everyone has a good evening or morning, wherever you guys might be. Have a good one. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.